Hello and welcome to the Thursday edition of the WinActive webcast, and two great guests for you today. But looking forward to talking about the VFL and our local team, Werribee Football Club, and what's happening there. But first of all, James Robertella, how are you today?
Brilliant, Barry. Thanks again for having us on, and can't wait to get stuck into our chat today. And looking forward to it. And we've had a bit of a Werribee Football Club flavour in the past few weeks, and they're such a strong community-oriented club and a real focal point for the Wyndham community. And it's great to have two members of their community development arm today on our WinActive webcast, and look forward to chatting to both Michael Barlow and Hamish McGuinness from the Werribee Football Club. Welcome, Michael, and welcome, Hamish.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Barry.
Thanks for having us.
Looking forward to being here, yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's great to have you. And for me, I previously worked over the other side of town, had a little bit to do with the Casey Demons, and so I've really enjoyed coming to my side of town, coming back to my side of town, and developing a relationship with the Werribee Football Club, and had a few chats with Choco and Mark Penaluna. So I'll be blatantly honest here. I am really hanging out to getting down and to Chirnside Park and watching you guys play a game, and fingers crossed it'll be this year. But tell us a little bit, perhaps one at a time. Perhaps we'll start with you, Michael, and your journey in football, and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Look, if we're going to go one at a time, Hamish might be able to go put the kettle on and have a cup of tea if you want me to run through my whole existence in my footballing life. But I'll try and make it quick and make it really relatable to the city of Wyndham and my involvement with Werribee and the VFL, which has really helped shape and develop me as a person. Like, I played, first made my way down to Werribee in 2008, off the back of a pre-season with St Kilda, and after 2 years playing up in the country at GVFL level for Shep United, my hometown. So, nearly got plucked out of the country to go play for St Kilda, which would have just been absolutely phenomenal. But at the same time, it really, the thirst and appetite to play AFL football was born when I went down to Werribee and played at the VFL level, and actually figured out I could compete at that level and compete with AFL listed players week in, week out. So that was kind of my introduction to Werribee. Was Mark Penaluna, Stu Bullock, who are still there to this day as CEO and footy manager. The coach was Simon Atkins when I initially started, and right from day one, essentially, when I became a Werribee Tiger, I had an involvement in the community, in schools, going out and running clinics immediately from my first year at the football club in 2008. So 2 years there, fortunate enough to go relatively well on an individual level, but also we went pretty close in 2008 to make a grand final, which would have been an absolutely great experience. We missed out. For me personally, got drafted, went away 9 years in the AFL system, and when making my decision of what to do post football, it was always going to have a really strong connection with football, with the coaching, with aspirations to coach and upskill myself there. So that natural progression back to Werribee with Mark Williams and Mark Penaluna still involved was really appealing, and really enjoyed 2019 and 2020 for all of us. Just throwing up a lot of curveballs, but we're in good hands and in good position to hopefully get something up and going very soon.
Michael, I'm well aware of your story, and it's been a fantastic journey to follow you and to have you back in Wyndham is a great asset, and I'm sure Hamish can pay testimony to that. But Hamish, your role as community development manager, I suppose, has changed obviously with the community having to stay at home. What did it look like, I suppose, prior to COVID, and what was the community arm of the Werribee Football Club focusing on?
Yeah, so obviously prior to COVID, community development or community engagement was a bit easier to do. And Yeah, our goal essentially is like, as a footy club, as Barry said, no matter where you go across Melbourne, footy really is the talk of the town, and we're in a really fortunate and unique position where, you know, we've got a really tight-knit community here, a group of players that, you know, are a community in themselves, and it's a group of people that are working together and are a part of something that's bigger than themselves. And so my role is, how do we expand on that, and how do we get more people involved in what we're doing as a club? And then most importantly as well, how can we create opportunities outside of the club and give back to the community that supports us so much?
Hamish, can I quickly ask, what's your background? How did you get into this role, and have you always been around footy?
Yeah, I've always been around footy. So I grew up in Ballarat, and yeah, always played footy all my life. Absolutely love the game, and I went overseas for 5 years and went to university in America and played football over there, American football. And then I came back 3 years ago, and yeah, wasn't really too sure what I wanted to do. And I kind of fell into a role with AFL Victoria, and that was as a game development officer. So that was essentially promoting grassroots footy across all regions of Melbourne. But my region primarily was Wyndham and Hobsons Bay. So I'd done a lot of work over a 2-year period out in schools across Wyndham, in community groups with Auskick centres. So when this role popped up, I really just jumped at the opportunity because I had a background in the region, had a good relationship with, you know, school teachers, Auskick coordinators, North Melbourne as well. So yeah, I really just kind of found my feet in doing so, and yeah, absolutely love it.
Brilliant. And I suppose, Michael, as a, you know, a playing member of the Werribee Football Club, how have you managed your time over the past few months, and how do you know, how are the playing groups sort of dealing through this current crisis?
Yeah, it's a terrific question. We've had to get very creative. James, I'll just go back to that last point from Hamish. It's quite amazing that the Werribee Football Club, our community manager, actually had a chance to play in the NFL, and he threw all that away because he wanted to come back and be involved in the city of Wyndham. So he undersold that a bit, but he was a leading punter over there in the college systems, and has lived a very interesting life, and come back and kind of have that unique, I suppose, perspective on things. We're very privileged to have Hamish and him to choose the community role over the NFL. But
don't get me started on your trophy, Michael.
so actually, probably just seeing the background. That's one of my very few commemorative plaques to myself in my home. So sidetracked a little bit there, James. But in terms of the playing group at the moment, you know, we're again very fortunate to have tremendous leadership, and Mark Williams as our driver through this time, and he's kept everyone really engaged. As we know, we can't actually physically catch up and do things together. We've been able to, you know, catch up and do one-on-one sessions with an individual teammate at times, but it's just not at all the same. I suppose the modern day with technology, we've got a WhatsApp group where we keep our whole list engaged, and we're ensuring everyone's involved in a capacity through there. And then we've got our little line groups and duty of care groups, I suppose, as well, where we can have a bit more intimate conversations and involvement with certain players and certain groups of players. So, yeah, we've done some very creative things, again, led by Choco, our dietitian. Byron has been doing a daily nutrition challenge, and the players have been really adaptable to that. As well as you know, our online quiz. We did a Kahoot quiz last night with our midfield group. You know, I dressed up in my suit and presented the quiz and really enjoyed that. So I think, you know, we take as much as we would love things to roll on in the normal capacity. You do find opportunities to grow and stay engaged, and at the same time, for me personally, I probably have found that love and passion for the game again. Not to say I really had it. I've had it forever, really. But when you've had something, you can subconsciously probably shift away from actually enjoying, the day-to-day and why you do it. Just enjoying competing and being involved in a club when it is fleetingly taken away from you. So, it's reinvigorated my excitement to hopefully pull on the boots again soon.
I think we'll talk a little bit later about where you see from here, where you see things going from here, Michael. But Hamish, I understand you've recently launched a new initiative as a club. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and how it's going?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as I said earlier, community engagement was not really the flavour of the month. Recently, it was all about getting away from each other and staying at home. So, Mick and myself sort of had a look at some ways that we can continue the programs that we were running prior to this and how we can get those up and running. And one thing, we had some feedback from schools that they've got, they had a lot of students at home and they had to try and get them 30 minutes of activity every day. And we weren't able to run our normal in-school footy clinics as we usually do. So we put together a series of videos, 15, 20-minute videos that were aimed at keeping kids active at home. And it had a bit of a footy flavour to it, but also trying to make it accessible where if kids didn't have footies, if they didn't have any ball at home, they could still just jump online and do it. And so we sent that out to all the schools across Wyndham, and Mick was fantastic with his really close relationships with teachers in the region. So they jumped on board and gave us plenty of feedback and help. So, it's actually been a really big positive and something that I think, before this, you don't really think about doing things like that. And, we don't really know what the future holds, but it's definitely something that we can look to do more of in the future, whether we return to doing things in schools or not. The ability to sort of jump online and film a session in 20 minutes and service 45 schools as opposed to, taking a bag of footies out across the course of one day and only servicing one school, I think is an awesome way to do things. So, I guess it's the silver lining on it all is that you sort of change the way you think about things and try and keep up to date with technology and use it to the best of our ability.
I think that's brilliant, and I've tuned into a couple interactive community classes as they're titled. So you've got some superstar presenters there, Hamish, helping you out. So they're brilliant. And at the end of the day, Barry, as we always discuss, we try to encourage people to find their 30 minutes a day of activity. So whether it's having to kick around the backyard following one of their classes or going for a walk or riding a bike or whatever it may be, it provides a lot of positivity in people's lives. So I suppose further to that, and you raise a good point, Hamish, around, what does the future hold? And it's, using these times and these new initiatives that, might provide that next step to further interaction with schools and with the community. What are the plans for the Werribee Football Club moving forward? And I suppose this is to you as well, Michael. Like, what does footy look like potentially in the coming months? And there very well might not be any answers to that one, but what are you hoping to see across the next few months?
Yeah, I'll just jump in first, Hamish. In terms of, on the back of kind of what Hamish was talking about, our programs, which is a bit of a tongue twister, and I had some issues when I was presenting it. The interactive community class, that's what it was, wasn't it, Hamish? So we, as you said, we've been able to get in front of so many more kids and schools than obviously you could face to face. But from a football club perspective, we're always looking for ways to engage, the city of Wyndham. It's what the fastest growing region in Australia, I think, and the Werribee Football Club stands right in the heart of it. So how can we, be a really respected and proud ambassador for the area in a sporting aspect is providing this and also exposing the kids to what we do, and that to come and watch the Werribee Football Club, at Avalon Airport Oval on a Saturday or a Sunday, is really encouraged, and we're trying to really drive our junior member base. The financial commitment isn't at all significant. It can become a really significant family outing of a weekend for families around the city of Wyndham. So we obviously see the benefit in getting in front of the schools and the kids, because they can go home and annoy their parents. And I've had some feedback along the way, which has really opened my eyes to the fact that we need to do more of this, because a lot of kids aren't aware of the Werribee Football Club in the city of Wyndham due to the magnitude of how quickly it's growing. So as soon as we became aware to some of these kids, they go home to their parents and say, I want to go watch the Tigers play. It's far more cost effective than AFL, and I think in the short term we might have some really good opportunity with the ability to provide a service and some product, whilst the AFL is obviously withdrawing crowds. And that's not to say we're any closer to figuring out whether we're going to play soon or whether we're going to have crowds. But obviously the financial impact on everyone is huge. So what is a really good alternative to going to, instead of going to the AFL, is going to the VFL and seeing local products that are really, really good. We want players like Matt Hansen, who's won 3 Best and Fairest, to become very recognisable figures around Melbourne and around the city of Wyndham. Tom Gribble, who actually just texted me just then, and I probably heard it come up on my computer, wins the JJ Liston medal. And how does he become a face of the Werribee Football Club and the Werribee community? It's all by engaging with kids and young families that want to be involved in something that's really, really special, and they actually can have a really big impact by just supporting it and being involved and building crowds and getting right behind the local product.
That's a great overview. Thanks, Michael. Hamish, I'm not sure whether you're aware, but if you had to put money on something, what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to see some footy? I suppose would be my question.
Well,
what do you think?
Yeah, we'll see some footy. It'll be the AFL, that's for sure. But I'm not a betting man, so that's probably not a question for me. But it's unfortunately we're really no closer to an answer at the moment than we were, I'm sure, when you talk to Choco or Penner. It's something that in the AFL, they've, with the financial squeeze of what's happening, they've had to stand down 80% of their staff. So the staff that they do have on it are fully focused on getting this AFL competition going up, which has so many hurdles and so much work to put in. So the people that are usually there, driving the community footy and driving the VFL have been stood down and aren't actually working. So there's really a lot that's put on the VFL clubs and put on these local clubs to get things up and going themselves. And you look at the regulations at the moment, and there's really no sort of clear return to normal training as it would as yet. So the answer to that question is really yet to be determined. And I'm not a betting man, so I'm not going to put a bet on it. But yeah, I think the next few weeks will be telling, because every weekend that goes by, that's one weekend off the footy season. So, at some stage, there's going to have to be decisions made.
Absolutely. James, it's that time where we like to be positive. We like to express gratitude for something. And I'm sure you guys have seen on the other WinActive webcasts. But Michael, Hamish, what are you grateful for today?
Yep, happy to go first. Hamish, so I'll give you a bit of time to obviously come up with your answer. But no,
I did my homework and did it before this, actually, Michael. So got to come prepared.
I think it has. The period of the coronavirus has really allowed us to reflect on gratitude and what we actually are grateful for. I mentioned before that football being taken away has reignited my passion and I suppose motivation to get back and stay involved for as long as you can, especially physically while you're physically able. But at the same time, since I finished my AFL career, end of 2018, I haven't really stopped. I've gone straight to play for the Werribee, 3 nights a week training. Your weekends are gone. I've done a lot of media work, which just saturates any spare time you have of a weekend. So my personal relationships probably didn't have the time to be able to flourish and really engage in them as much as I could since I finished playing AFL, trying to personally infiltrate into these new areas that I'm pursuing. So I'm really grateful for the personal relationships I've been able to really, I suppose, invest more time into, which and understand also the sacrifice those personal relationships. Girlfriend, really close friends, and the like that you really start to understand the sacrifices they also make. When you think, as a result of the sacrifices I make in terms of the training 3 nights a week and a lot of weekend commitments around the media space. So grateful for those around me at the moment, James and Barry.
Brilliant.
Hamish, what are you grateful for today?
So I'm grateful for the abundance of amazing food we have available in Melbourne and in Wyndham. Yesterday, I live pretty close to the Vic Market, so to hop in a heated car at 8 a.m. and drive down there's barely anyone down there, and just to have the food on offer down there, any kind of meat you can think of, all the veg, and at pretty amazing prices. This isn't a commercial arrangement I have with them, but it was it's just phenomenal. Like, just around the corner from where I live, and to have the time now to come back home and cook it as I want to cook it. But like, having spent time in the US and in Alabama, I can tell you that the rest of the world aren't living like this in terms of food. Like, what we have here is just phenomenal. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
What's your go-to dish, Hamish? If you had to cook up something, what are you going to?
I'm a big barbecue fan, so I cooked a steak and 2 lamb chops last night, and then roasted some veggies. So it's pretty simple, but I love meat on the barbie. That's my go-to.
That's great, guys. Michael, I think your insights in developing those personal relationships, and a lot of us can relate to that, certainly at home a lot more. And so thank you for sharing. And Hamish, your love of food, and I think we've all got that. And whether it's the ability to buy quality fresh produce, or to even order in these days, or to go when they open, to go to a restaurant, Melbourne is just an amazing place for food.
Absolutely.
So thanks very much for sharing. James, what are you grateful for today?
So Michael and Hamish, as you might know, what Barry and I have to, whenever we have a guest on, we also have to be grateful for something. So we've covered off a few topics in our time, but I'm grateful for the footy, the AFL coming back. I mean, I haven't watched much live sport in the past few months, but
who do you go for, James?
I don't know if I should say, but I'll be watching on Sunday when I think the Bombers play the Swans. So hopefully we'll be able to tame Buddy Franklin if he's back. But look, I'm grateful for to still be working, to still be able to do these sorts of things, and obviously working from home, but really grateful for the opportunities that have come for me during this time. And I know people are facing some challenges in that space. So certainly grateful for the opportunities to continue work. So a big part of my life, that element. But what about you, Barry? What are you grateful for today?
Well, I think we're all on the same page, actually. I think we must have got together and talked about this, James. But when I was preparing for this, I thought, well, I'm grateful the AFL's back. I'm a Richmond Tigers supporter. And
of course you are, Barry. Yeah, there you
go. Lifelong, Michael. So not a bandwagoner, that's for sure. Went through the hard years. But very grateful for that. But I was also grateful from the aspect I was really hopeful, but unfortunately I've learned a bit today. I was hopeful that the VFL would come back and the WRFL as well. I'm been heavily involved over probably last 10 years with the Altona Football Club, and I was hopeful that we could get that back. But yeah, maybe not. We'll see what happens there. But just something completely that sprung to mind is I'm grateful for my SodaStream machine, and I use it multiple times a day to prepare drinks, and it's a cheap, easy, and very nice way to have our drinks. So there you go, something a little bit different for today.
Do you chuck a bit of flavour in there as well?
Yeah, I do quite often, and I've got about 7 or 8 flavours to have. But just this morning, I felt like just the plain water, which is very nice as well, for sure.
Brilliant. Look, Michael, Hamish, thank you for giving up your time and providing the insights. I'm sure we could spend another, hours having a chat around footy and our obvious love for the game. So, look, we look forward to seeing the Werribee Football Club take the park again, and for your work in the community. I think it's brilliant, and look forward to seeing that develop over the coming weeks, months, and years. And yeah, again, appreciate you giving up your time to come on board for the Win Active webcast. So thank you.
Thanks, James.
Thanks for having us.
And just before we go, I suppose, Hamish, just to give some clarity on those interactive community classes we have, they can be accessed at any stage through our YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure, Hamish. So if you want to give that a quick plug.
Yeah, so if you head to the website, the Werribee Football Club website, you can jump on there and there'll be a link there to all those videos, or Instagram, Twitter, whatever your social pipe may be, you'll be able to find them through that. So, yeah, there'll be plenty more to come.
Yeah, and there's different types. The ones we've got Kyle Hardigan, who's done one with us, Mark Williams, Matt Hansen, the 3-time best and fairest winner. So we've got some big names coming in and being our guinea pigs, I suppose, at times. And I was actually the guinea pig the day Choco Mark Williams came in and did it. So lots of fun, different levels of, I suppose, capacity. Some probably more advanced ones down to some real beginner stuff. So plenty of options there on the Werribee, Werribee website.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Hamish. As always, thanks, James. It's been great to speak to you today. Look, all the very best for the coming weeks and months, and we can only hope that we see Werribee Football Club out on the ground as well. All the best. Take care, guys. Thank you to everyone for watching today. It's great to always have you, and please look after each other, take it easy, and keep smiling. Bye for now.